and try to make barbaric claims and question our humanity for supporting resistance, I'm here to remind you that the oppressed do not owe you peace and to decolonize is to resist.
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
That was from a pro-Palestinian rally run by students at the City University of New York's Baruch College yesterday. You know, we talk a lot on the show about how America's college campuses are radicalizing students, making them pro-socialist, pro-Marxist, pro-communist, and now it also appears pro-Islamic terrorist. From Ivy League schools like Harvard and Stanford University to local institutions, the last week has brought out thousands and thousands blaming Israel for Hamas atrocities, and the images and the messages are shocking. To discuss this phenomenon, joining me now is the editor-in-chief of Campus Reform, Zachary Marschall, and also Campus Reform correspondent and law student at George Washington University, Sam Rutzick. Also back with us, Republican strategist and the host of the 13-Minute News Hour, Bobby Eberle, a guy who just paid for two kids to go to college, so that's why he's in this.
That's right.
Guys, let me go to you first. You know, just when you thought that what was going on these campuses couldn't get worse, it does. Sam, we have some video here of a pro-Palestinian protest at Binghamton University in New York, a school with a predominantly Jewish student body. What I'm about to show you may be disturbing. Take a look.
Jews for Palestine? What are you, crazy? Jews for Palestine? Jews for Palestine? I'm Israel. Yep, look at you.
You'll notice one of the pro-Palestinian protesters in the last video gives a Heil Hitler sign to the Jewish student recording this video. Here's a photo of that person doing that. Sam, you're a college student. Did it shock you how quickly these anti-Israel protests developed after the war started?
You know, I give a lot of leeway for college students to be pretty stupid, but this was astonishing, even given that. You know, the amount of anti-Semitism that bubbled to the surface the instant there was an excuse. This wasn't criticism of Israel, or criticism of Likud, or criticism of Netanyahu. This was rejoicing in the sort of cold-blooded slaughter of Jewish children.
Yeah. Zachary, this is happening at Cornell, Columbia, Harvard, Penn State, Washington University, NYU, and more. These are the same people who cancel Republican and conservative voices and say that they are threats to society, and now these universities are allowing this to go on.
Cornell University is in Ithaca, New York, which is only 90 minutes north of Binghamton. The one picture your viewers can look at to understand what's happening on college campuses is the headshot of Darren Borders, who is a DI officer at Cornell, who's now in hot water because he put out a pro-Hamas statement. He has a Black Lives Matter and a Progress flag lapel pins in his headshot. This is a coordinated effort among faculty and among students over the last 2 generations in higher education to use intersectionality and leftist ideologies like anti-racism and social justice to peddle their anti-Semitism in polite society.
Bobby, let's go to you. You just you're on the tail end of this. You had 2 kids go through college. And get your reaction to how this sort of pro-socialist, pro-Marxism and the indoctrination is really been manifested, is manifested as these protests that we've seen over the last week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've got a daughter who's out. I've got a son who's getting ready to finish. And so I've been highly invested in this issue and reading about the Marxification of education. And now it's come home to roost. We see it in a very graphic and significant way. And the thing is, you mentioned these conservatives being canceled. Why were they canceled? It's because they said that their speech would actually be hurtful when they're talking about issues. Well, what can you say when you have people parading around talking about glorifying terrorist attacks? That is actually harmful, and the universities are doing nothing about it. They're allowing this, and the double standard there is just appalling.
Sam, this is happening at your university. The student-run group GW Students for Palestine released a statement saying that they maintain unwavering support for our people's resistance in all of its forms. George Washington University has made headlines for publishing an article calling white students an infestation. Are we seeing the results of the leftist doctrination that we talk so much about in this?
Well, in many ways, the thing that keeps a number of flavors of the radical left together is anti-Semitism. The way that they can square the sort of racial justice activists, the pro-Palestinian activists, the old professors who used to toe the Soviet party line is to embrace anti-Semitism. This is the natural consequence of the way that education has become.
Yeah. The pro-Soviet evolution, right, it's now also manifesting itself as anti-Semitism. Zachary, Marschall, and Sam Rutzick from Campus Reform, thank you so much for keeping an eye on this topic for us. And Bobby, stay with us.